Should I wear the hat?
Why not? What's it say? Oh, that hat. That's your Dumb Bleep hat.
Good morning, Liberty.
Well, what is up, all of our liberty-loving friends? This is another fantastic episode of Good Morning Liberty. My name is Nate Thurston. Across from me is Mr. Charles Merck Thompson, putting on his Dumb Bleep hat for this here Dumb Bleep of the month.
I've had it on all week.
Yeah, you've been prepared all week.
I think this is just a new, just the new hat.
This is your look now.
This is it.
You wear a hat almost every day. It might as well be that hat. You know,
yeah, I love America. I love Texas.
I used to have my Dumb Bleep hat that I would wear until it got ruined, and I'm very sad about that.
I love Tennessee. I love country music.
You look so American right now.
I do.
For
Yeah.
sure. It is. This is Good Morning Liberty, life of liberty in the pursuit of meaning every single day of the week when we want to. Follow, subscribe, do all of those things. Tell a friend and a family member. Hang out with us on X. That's where we are most of the time. We do a thing. If you're new here, we do a thing called Dumb Bleep of the Week every week. And so we get a winner, the live group, the Fed Haters Club, who join via joingml.com. It's only $7 a month, by the way. I need to check the inflation rate, see if that number needs to come up a little bit. Sounds like a rookie number, honestly. But they get the vote on which one is the Dumb Bleep of the week. And then we put those into a Dumb Bleep of the month. We try to figure out what the dumbest thing from the month was. And then guess what? If that wasn't enough, at the end of the year, we put all those months together and we try to figure out what the dumbest thing of the year was. And then the winner gets a trophy. And the person who submitted it gets a trophy. And one of the things we started doing was at the end of every month, we just started going ahead and doing Dumb Bleep of the month instead of waiting until the end of the year. Well, I forgot to do it in April and in May. It's a new thing we just started this year of our Lord 2025, and I forgot to do it in both April and May.
Well, the May's one, it's June 5th.
That's true.
Yeah.
I didn't forget about May.
No, just forgot about April.
So I forgot about April, so now we're going to do April and May in the same episode, 2 months at the same time, okay? And so that's what we're about to do.
Hey, we just got a live review.
Okay.
From the Fed Haters Club. It says the Daily Wire charges around $15 a month the last time they checked. And GML, you get better content at a much better price.
Yeah.
Better content at half the price than the Daily Wire and those folks over there. You know,
and we don't make you watch any bad movies over here.
No.
We don't feed you a single movie.
Yeah.
You watch those on your own time.
And we don't shill for anyone.
No shilling. Hey, I like the Daily Wire sometimes. I still listen to the Morning Wire every day.
Just pure, unbiased, principled, liberty-loving goodness over here at GML.
That's what you get for $7 a month. Join gml.com. Let's get going because we've actually got a ton of stuff. And some of these are videos we're going to have to play. So they're going to take a little bit more time. And some of these are not videos, which means we're going to move past them a lot quicker. You can go back and listen to us talking to them at length plenty of times in their own respective Dumb Bleep of the Week episodes if you want to do that. It's on every Friday, every week, except for last week.
When we
do a Dumb Bleep of the Week. So number one of April was Trump's Liberation Day tariff announcement. Charlie, did you like it? Was it dumb? Are you a fan of the tariffs that we tried to put on there for a minute, then we took them off, and then we put them on, then we took them off? A lot has happened since then. Remember, this was on April 2nd. This is a while ago.
I think I did say at the time, that there could be some 4D chess happening. So, I mean, it's possible that it could have turned into a good thing. But tariffs overall are not good for consumers. It's not good for inflation.
It's just higher prices.
Prices go up.
Although that inflation has not worked its way into the numbers yet. That has.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, as far as the inflation numbers go, it has not worked its way into the numbers.
I do see layoffs are taking place again.
I did see the number. I saw that number. 247,000 people filed for unemployment last month.
Anyway, we're talking about what happened in April.
That's right. Yeah.
Here's the dumbest part about this was that the chart they posted on the reciprocal tariffs, the math just ain't math.
No.
It wasn't tariffs. They were able to come up with a number that they thought would match just based on.
It was basically the trade imbalance between the countries. And they came up with this really complicated looking formula. I tried to find the screenshot of the formula. This is one of the problems doing something 2 months later. I tried to find a screenshot of the formula. It looked really complicated, and it turned out one of the little symbols represented 0.25, and the other one represented 4, which meant those two together just equaled 1. And so it was 1 times whatever number they put down there, which means they should have just put that number down there because it was always going to be 1 times whatever that number was.
And all it equals is trade deficit.
And it's just the trade deficit.
Which is stupid. This is dumb because, like, let's say that we trade some Central or South American countries for coffee.
Are we still here? Hold on. I just noticed we got a connection problem. Is anyone else having an issue? Are we back? We're back? Okay. How long did you just miss well, we're still recording right now, and I know it recorded fine. I'm not sure what happened. I'm going to blame that on Discord. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Charlie. I just noticed that everyone said that it was cutting out there for a minute. They missed basically the tariff conversation that we just had.
Yeah.
So,
which is the whole purpose
was like the whole thing that we talked about. But you guys remember what we talked about way back when. You've heard us talk about tariffs.
The reciprocal tariffs that the White House announced were dumb was because it was basically the trade deficit, which in and of itself is dumb. Because when you look at, let's look at a country like Peru, which is a place we get some coffee from. Yeah. Costa Rica is another one. Dominican Republic. We can't grow coffee really in the United States outside of like Hawaii. And so we will always have a trade deficit when it comes to coffee. And places that grow coffee.
One of the really funny things that happened in these negotiations was that they were, as part of the negotiations with Japan, they were trying to force Japan to buy rice from America. I'm like, they don't need our rice. This is how trade works. They should not buy rice from America. Clearly, we should buy it from them.
Yeah, they've got a decent rice over there.
So anyhow, what the live group missed, which people listening right now, you heard the whole thing, but the percentage of tariff charged to the USA was just a percentage representation of our trade imbalance with that country. They were not, in fact, charging us those crazy tariffs like Vietnam does not have a 90% tariff on the United States. In fact, their tariff rate was like 4% or something like that. And it wasn't for all goods. It was for like some goods. So the numbers were just made up. The points don't matter.
And in all fairness, they did put on here, it does say including currency manipulation and trade barriers.
Yeah. They just put that there to try and throw people off the trail of the fact that they just gave a percentage representation of the trade imbalance. That's just what the numbers worked out to. That's what it was. So we can go past that. You guys, this is a libertarian podcast. If it's your first time listening, we're not a fan of taxes, and we are fans of free trade. And we think that's been a very good thing for the people of the world. Now, I think it would be good for everyone. Yes, not the people that are not of the world.
Oh, okay.
Just the people of the world.
Okay.
Now, you could make the argument that wouldn't it be nice if we made a lot of stuff here? And I think it would be nice if we made a lot of stuff here, provided that was the most efficient use of our resources. And then you got to ask yourself the question, why don't we make these things here? And I think that's where the government should start. Before you start trying to force these negotiations and force people to buy the American products or force the prices to go up on products from other countries, you should ask yourself, why is it so expensive to do business here? And there were many other ways that you could try and get businesses to move to America. The best plan, I think, is my plan. I think you'll agree with me that it's the best plan that we could have, and that's that you don't charge businesses that manufacture their products in the United States any taxes for 25 years. And you ink that deal, it's as solid as the Constitution. Okay, that's a bad example. It's as solid as a really, really tough contract that it's hard to get out of. It doesn't matter what administration comes in or whatever. This is a contract signed between the U.S. government and these businesses. No taxes for 25 years if you manufacture your goods in the United States. We would have to set limitations on the amount of businesses that could come to the United States. That's what we would have to do in that situation. And that is a great way to make products in America and get rid of unions. Yeah. All right, number 2.
That's just an ancillary benefit.
We just got to throw in that part. Wow, April.
A lot happened in April.
April is something. Let me tell you what.
April Fools.
April gave us the Douglas Murray and Dave Smith debate. You guys, did anyone remember that? It's still, it's like almost still getting talked about right now.
It is.
You know, maybe not quite as much anymore, but it was really this section right here that ended up being the dumbest overall. I would also include the fact that Douglas Murray started this entire debate by coming out and attacking Joe Rogan for the people that he's had on his show. And that's just not a good idea at all. And he needed to have more experts on his show, stuff like that. It was this total appeal to authority in the expert class and elitism that in the post-COVID years is just not going to work anymore.
Well, it was an agenda.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Here's a section that got people going.
2005. No, there was no deficit of goods coming in. I've been plenty of times.
There was no deficit?
No, there are
no
plenty
goods were kept out.
There are plenty. How many? Have you been to the crossing points?
No.
When were you last there at all?
I've never been.
You've never been?
Well, am I not allowed to talk about it now? I've never been to. Have you ever been to Nazi Germany? Are you allowed to have feelings about them?
You can't time travel, but you can. But you can travel.
Okay, but so what? So what's the point? Like,
no,
okay.
I find that
lots of people have been there and agree.
What just happened? It just reset. Is there something up with our internet?
Uh-oh.
I don't know what just happened there. Okay, so you guys remember that. Okay, we all know that. Look at that, an error occurred. Please try again later. Huh. Okay, so you guys all remember that debate. It's something that people are still talking about today. I think this really sums up that moment. Whoever it is that made this video was a real stroke of genius. And so I think this really sums up the moment quite nicely, actually.
Have you been to the crossing points? I really resent that form of argumentation. When were you last there at all?
Sure.
I really resent it. You should at least do the courtesy of visiting it. This is not an attractive invitation. I think it's a good idea to see stuff, particularly if you spend a career talking about something. I have the right to talk about whatever the hell I want. And no one's going to stop me or try to intimidate me. And I think that if I said to somebody else the other way around, it would be equally reprehensible. I have a journalistic rule of trying never to talk about a country even in passing unless I've at least been there. If I said, shut up, you have no right to criticize anything that Douglas Murray says because... Hang on, you're talking about crossing points. And not only have you never been to a crossing point in either Egypt or in Israel, but you've never even been to the region. Okay, it's not an exact comparison, but seriously, is that a reasonable form of argument? No. In that case, nobody can talk about anything. We might as well pack up, go home and isolate ourselves. If you're insisting that you're an expert of some kind, or not claiming you're an expert, but still talking about it, if you've never seen any of this going on. I mean, there are some people who've written about there are people who've written about the Holocaust who didn't experience the Holocaust and have written about it better than people who did. But
I always want to get to that point because it totally destroys his argument, as we've made the point several times, that you could write about something and do a better job than someone who actually experienced it, which means as a reader, you could learn more by reading from someone who has never been there than experiencing it yourself as well. And so he totally destroys the argument that he's making against Dave Smith.
Against himself.
Against himself,
yes.
And talking to himself.
Yes.
So...
yeah, and this video was close to being mentioned by Joe Rogan.
Oh, so close.
On the Joe Rogan podcast.
So close.
Then Nate would have felt like he was enough.
I would have felt pretty cool about that.
Yeah.
It was cool.
He didn't mention the clip.
He did.
He just didn't mention where it came from.
It was cool to hear Joe Rogan mention the video. And he said, like, yeah, because somebody made a video doing this. And I was like, I'm somebody. That's me.
I'm the someone.
I'm somebody now.
Yeah.
So I don't think Elon shared it. Bailey was asking. So that's why it wasn't enough. Anyhow, so that is Dumb Bleep number 2 crap for April.
Mm-hmm. Number 3.
What do we got? Oh, God, it's Bill Burr.
This millionaire.
This millionaire Bill Burr. David Sirota says, here's the great Bill Burr in his last podcast episode explaining oligarchy and the whole trade policy debate in the more simple, easy to understand way than most professional politicians. Also, he was wrong about basically everything he said in the clip. which made it very easy to understand for people who don't need to understand things.
Yeah.
So, wow, I'm having a tough time figuring out how to handle all this stuff today because we spent 25 minutes on this video when we talked about it. But here's some of it.
I literally do not understand what's going on. First of all, I might be wrong on this. This whole
Let me skip this.
during the what was that period called? The Industrial Revolution. They had like kids working in factories, like fucking 12, 14-hour days, like 4 or 5-year-old kids in dangerous situations, and people weren't making any money. And the one guy who owned the factory was keeping all the money. These robber barons, who all should be in fucking jail. But politicians don't make any money, and they just throw them money, so they are on the legal side of stealing. No one's ever gone to jail for being a robber baron. Anyway.
That's weird because Bill Burr makes all the money for his shows and stuff.
Yeah.
You
He's
know?
not a robber baron, though.
No.
See, the robber
Like the
baron
stagehands, that help set up the show and the guy who runs the sound and stuff like that, they're making pennies compared to the percentage of ticket sales.
What's funny is
those guys are out working probably 12-hour days to set up the show.
Mm-hmm.
He
comes in there, does a couple hours, walks out. No, that's
An
totally
hour.
fine. It's totally fine because there's air conditioning in the building, so it's not a sweatshop. He treats the term robber baron as if it's like this legal definition of someone who's doing something against the law, almost like a murderer or a thief or something like that. Robber baron is just a term that socialists came up with to talk bad about capitalists. Okay,
Yeah.
It's like these robber barons never gone to jail. It's because all they did was find really efficient ways to create products that people needed, and they gave a bunch of people jobs. And we're already at the point where he talks about they had kids working in these factories, and as we pointed out the last time, we can look at that today and be like, oh, that's wrong. It's probably dangerous for those kids. But you're talking about a time where kids worked, okay? And you were coming out of a farming society into an industrial society, and kids worked. You had a lot of kids, and they all worked. The ones who didn't die, you had them all
working on the farm.
Yeah.
And now they're working in the factory.
Yeah.
Or you didn't eat. That was the thing.
It was just the way that human beings lived until like 100 years ago in some societies, and they still live that way in a lot of other societies.
Looking at some of these kids today, they should go back to work.
It'd be good to do a little bit of work. Yeah,
It'd be good to do a little bit of work.
Yeah. Might not throw them in like a dangerous factory or whatever, but in those days, it wasn't that crazy of a thing to do. It wasn't
I was mowing lawns when I was 12. You don't think a lawnmower's dangerous? I was sharpening my own blades.
Yeah. I went to school with a kid who cut his foot off with a lawnmower. It's dangerous stuff.
It is.
You went to school with him too.
I did.
I don't remember
It wasn't
his name.
me.
Old Peggy.
I still got my...
The working man finally has enough. They start organizing unions. The robber barons hire police, the army, all of these people to come in and kill these people in riots, crack their skulls, do unbelievable sorts of damage to them to try and force them to go back to work for sweatshop wages.
I think we can probably move on after we make this point. This is one of the dumbest points because he tells a really, really one-sided, out of context part of the story. Listen, I'm not going to make the argument that there was no taking advantage of people because they didn't have a lot of other options. Okay, I'm not going to claim that that Carnegie and Rockefeller and whoever else were like these amazing, virtuous people who cared about human rights and wanted people to have a good life and all that. That's not what I'm saying at all. But we should at least tell the story when he talks about these riots and cracking people on the head and killing people and all that. There's something that happened before that. There was we talked about one called the Homestead Riot, I think, which was a strike against Carnegie. I'm trying to think back to when we talked about this video the first time. And this was in a factory where there were 3,800 workers and 700 of them were unionized. But those 700 unionized workers decided to go on strike. And not only did the 700 go on strike, to prevent other people from working, they formed like a blockade and fortified the factory to keep other people out of it, other people that could have gone to work if they wanted to continue going to work and earning money. And so they fortified it, they armed themselves, and they essentially seized the private property of whoever it was that owned that factory. In this case, I believe it was Andrew Carnegie. And eventually, Carnegie decided to have people go and take back his own damn property. And the people were armed, and there was a battle that ensued because there were armed people that had taken control over his property and were not letting other workers go in there to work that wanted to work. So when you start the story at, oh, these people didn't want to work in terrible conditions, so he hired the military to go and beat them to death into submission so they go back to work in sweatshops, that's really not telling the story now, is it?
Right.
It's not at all. There were other stories like with railways and stuff where they blocked all the rail lines, wouldn't let any trains operate, stuff like that. And eventually they took back their property by force from the people who were controlling their property by force. And the socialists or the pro-union people, same, like to only tell the story about how these people were just protesting for better wages or whatever, and they just came in and killed them for doing so. And it's not the case. They could have just quit. They could have just left. They were not enslaved to work in these places. They could have gone somewhere else if there were other opportunities.
Could have gone back to the farm.
The other non-unionized workers could have just gone and worked at that factory. But that's not what they were trying to allow happen at all. So I'm just saying people have to tell the whole story, you know? Wow, we're 1 minute 50 seconds into this video. I think it's safe to say it's not going to happen, folks.
You have to go back. You have to go back.
You got to go back to that episode.
We did about a half hour on this entire topic.
Which was back in April sometime. And yeah, a large portion of the episode was us destroying this video. And he makes plenty of other really bad points as well.
You're just destroying Bill Burr's fat, bald head.
Yeah. He got so annoying. I had hope there for a minute when he started, you know, going against like woke stuff or WNBA stuff, making those kind of jokes, you know, jokes that would make people on the left upset.
Abortion.
About stuff, abortion jokes, stuff like that. And then it just, he turned out to be this big economic socialist, basically. And it's super annoying when, it's always super annoying when a multi-millionaire who makes like $1 million in a night telling jokes is a crazy socialist.
Yeah.
It's so annoying when that happens.
To me, that's woke feminism.
He's a woke feminist.
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think that's the biggest problem is like it's, you know, once these folks get to the economic realm, they like lose all brain control.
Do you think they start to feel bad about it? Like they want to keep their money, but do you think they also feel, do you think they feel guilty in some way?
No, it's a strategy to keep their money.
Oh, okay.
They're like, I'm on your side. That guy is not.
Yeah.
If you're going to eat the rich, I'm going to point you in the direction of the rich people you should eat.
Those rich people.
Those rich people. It's not I.
These robber barons.
These billionaires. Yeah. Just like Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
It was millionaires and billionaires till he became a millionaire. Now it's just billionaires.
Yeah.
And if he ever reaches $1 billion, then he'll be like, it's the trillionaires. You know?
He's not going to reach a billion at this. God, you know, God help us all. I don't think he's got enough time to do that. Okay, that was number 3 for April. Number 4, this is the last one for April.
It's a doozy.
I know it's a doozy. My God. This Misfit Patriot, who actually threw himself in the Dumb Bleep for this week, which we'll be talking about tomorrow too, because he only says dumb things, and so we've had to kind of weed out, you know, and find the dumbest things, and he did one for this week, so that's good. He says, I'm okay with as many dead kids as it takes to stop Hamas. You people sound like woke leftists trying to make an emotional argument so you can argue from a position of moral superiority. You might as well put a rainbow flag and pronouns in your bio. If you try to emotionally blackmail me, I will pull, I'm going to say the words, Mom. Okay, they're on the thing. I'm reading words that are on a piece of, I was going to say piece of paper. It's not on a piece of paper. It's on the screen.
It's a digital paper.
It's fine. If you try to emotionally blackmail me, I will pull your fucking card. Literally every single Palestinian can die if that's what it takes to save Israel. How many kids were in Sodom and Gomorrah? God didn't give a fuck about how many about how many, I gotta say with the quotes around it, because the number of people who were righteous was 0. What about the firstborn of the children in Egypt? How many children died in Hiroshima and Nagasaki? All of them. That's my acceptable cost. Palestinians raped and murdered 1,200 innocent people, took Americans hostage. Fuck them and their whole bloodline. Thank you, Charlie. Wow, there's a lot of F's in here. A lot more F's than I anticipated when I decided to say the F out loud. So now we got to put that explicit tag on the episode.
We sure do.
So how about that? You fucking pussies don't give a fuck about all the... Yeah, sorry, P word. Don't give an F about all the tragedies of the world until it's the people who chant death to America. F them and F you too.
Whew. Yeah, I can't share this one with the children.
Yeah, don't share it with the children.
Parker, close your ears.
Yeah, so your kid's right over there. So, this is gross. This is genocidal. This is disgusting. This is immoral. You are talking about, I mean, you know, when you're talking about kids, they're completely innocent in the situation. Can you have a little bit of hurt feelings, just a little bit?
Any empathy
whatsoever for the kids at all, for them getting killed? They're just innocent kids, blank slates, you know?
They've done nothing.
They could do anything in the world. Absolutely, they did nothing wrong. Their only crime is who their parents are, or doesn't even have to be who their parents are, just the general, the land that they live on. And that's the crime that they committed. Can't you at least have a little bit of empathy or sympathy or whichever word is correct in this circumstance for the kids? No, sounds psychopathic to me. If you ask me, this came out around the same time that Jordan Peterson went out there calling people psychopathic. And so that's not good. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, the other really dumb part of this was that he decided to use the story of Sodom and Gomorrah as justification for Israel killing all the people that are in Gaza. And that was really gross to me because, Charlie, if you know anything about, say, a story like Sodom and Gomorrah, who is it? You know, you just have to... A lot of libertarians listen to the show. They might not be believers or whatever, but he's the one using this story, which means it means something to him. So we're going to talk from this story. Who decided to kill all those people?
God.
God did.
So are we allowed? Are we allowed to play God?
Not man.
Yeah.
Not men. Not men and women. Not the leader of a state decided to do that. You know. And so,
in fact, God even says that the judgment and wrath is reserved for him, not for you.
So that
your job is to forgive, actually, as a human.
That's the extra psychopathic, disgusting part of this. As someone who I'm pretty sure would claim to be a Christian, not only talking this way about killing children, but also using something that God did as justification for something that a man should do in killing people and deciding to do that. I don't think that's good.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It's gross.
So
repugnant.
We only had 4 for April. So that's the good news there. Whenever you guys that are hanging out with us want to go vote for any of those, you can go do that. It's already in the Dumb Bleep of the Year voting channel because these will all be taken and used for Dumb Bleep of the Year. Yeah, real dumb. So number 1 we had, remember, we still got May, if you're listening right now. Okay,
this is hard.
Next it's going to be May. Number 1 was the Liberation Day tariffs. Number 2 was Douglas Murray versus Dave Smith. Number 3 was that Bill Burr video. Number 4 was the Misfit Patriot thing.
That's a tough choice.
It is really tough.
Remember this one gets entered into the Dumb Bleep of the Year.
Yeah.
So
that's a big deal. That's a real big deal. The next one is we'll have a little bit more fun stuff and not so much it's not as heavy hitting as April, but there are 5 instead of 4. This one was a surprise winner. to me for May while people are voting. I'm going to go ahead and get going on this. This was a video of Hope Walls, who is the daughter of former vice presidential candidate Tim Walz. You remember him?
Her mom. Yeah.
Tim. Yeah. And she's talking about running, being political, and, let's just let her talk about it because she does a better job than we do. This is a winner from a week. It beat out everything else. Okay, so it must be dumb. Let's figure it out.
Running as an act is political, and you know who taught me that? Tim Walz. The first thing he told me when I was first getting into it in high school, granted, I don't really do it as much anymore. I go in spurts, but when I was first getting into it in high school, the first thing he told me was that running is a privilege, and being a part of the running community is a privilege that not all people have access to. Whether you do it recreationally or you race a lot or you are, at the elite level, it is a privilege. Whether it be you just having the time to run, access to funds to buy the gear, access to, healthy quality foods that fuel you as you're training and as you're running, access to, a safe, stable situation that allows you to be in a good mental state to be able to run. All of those things are hard to come by. And if you have them and are a part of the running community, that is a privilege. And that, again, was the first thing he taught me. So I don't really understand how platforming and administration that...
She's upset about this runner influencer that went to the White House, and she's mad about that. I just can't imagine your life. It's just so cush that you got the time to think about this little bubble that you live in, which is like a life where everything's, you got a hell of a lot of advantages, every advantage in the world. It's more advantages than I had, and she's now in this little running bubble where the best political outreach she can do is talking about how running is a privilege. And just imagine all the people that she's talking to that her dad was trying to be vice president of. And I would imagine they're like, WTF is this bee talking about right now? I'm trying to buy food, You're over here talking about running, I don't care about this.
That's the point. People are just trying to buy food, Nate. And you're out there platforming runners.
Yeah.
That's a privilege. Dad sounds like an idiot. You know what I learned?
I bet he had to be, if he's smart, he had to be mad when she released this. Like, you're telling everyone that I taught you that running was a privilege, really?
I watched this documentary that came out in the 90s, and from what I understand, if you want to run, you just got to stop.
You just start, yeah.
And then you could run coast to coast. And people will follow you and create.
Well, you can go to the end of your town.
Yes.
And you get there, you might as well just keep on going.
Through the state.
You get to the end of the county, and
when
you
get
just
there,
run clear across state Alabama if you want to do that,
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good documentary.
A great documentary.
For sure. This was a winner of the first week in May. Running is a privilege. And I bet your dad would agree.
Also, the way she says, when I first got in this community, the first thing my dad taught me was that running is a privilege. It's like, honestly, I feel bad for her.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad that your dad is gay. I do.
Well, it's got to try and make you feel guilty. It's all this guilt. I think there really is a lot of guilt for these people. They they feel guilty for, some of the people feel guilty even for running.
Just a natural thing.
Do you have to have all the super expensive stuff to run? I mean, I'm pretty sure there's people in Africa that run.
Look, when I was a kid, I spent all my time outside, and we had gravel driveways. Yeah. Okay. And I went outside with barefoot all the time. I learned to run on gravel.
I can't do that.
When I was a kid, I can't do it now. I've been too privileged with my shoes.
Lived the privileged life.
But I got to tell you, honestly, it was better. When I had no shoes, I could run across the gravel. I felt more invincible.
It's even cheaper to do that too.
Yeah.
So that's good. It's efficient. Okay, let
me finish the point there, which is what I think you were talking about. It's maybe they do feel guilty, but it's not feeling guilty in the fact that they're willing to give any of their stuff up.
No.
It's their virtue signaling.
Yes.
As like, well, I care about
They're
you.
like, I have a better life than you. I have more than you. And it makes them feel better to like acknowledge that, I guess, and talk about how they're privileged.
Mm-hmm.
And then they keep just doing it. They keep living the life. And then, of course, they'll be proponents of taking things from other people to give to those people.
Yeah.
Not really themselves.
And the best depiction of this was when Matt Walsh in the movie I Am a Racist.
Am I racist?
Am I Racist?
Yeah.
Gets
Turned out he was, though. Yeah.
When he gets the white fragility author, what's her
Robin
name?
DiAngelo.
Robin DiAngelo to give cash to the black producer.
I can't even watch it. I can't believe we saw that in the theater.
Every time I see that clip, it's just so funny.
The only way I would have watched that is me being stuck in a theater watching that, because I would have skipped past it.
Which is where
it's
we
too
were.
tough, too difficult.
It was so great.
Okay, that's number 1 for May. How about number 2 for May? We'll have to definitely brush over this one pretty quickly, because this one concerns an agency. This is one of those agencies that was super upset about Doge coming in and shutting them down, so much so that they locked Doge out. And this is ADF, the African Development Foundation. African Development Foundation. I'm saying that over and over again because I keep forgetting what it stands for. African Development Foundation. I'll start off with an article headline here from The Guardian, which says, "The little agency that could cheered for act of resistance against Trump and Musk." And this is a story about how they were resistance fighters against these evil actors in Doge and oligarchs like Elon Musk coming in to shut down this very important agency that does all this work developing Africa. And they're trying to come in there and shut them down. And it turns out that they might have had other reasons for blocking Doge out and trying to keep people away from their books.
No, you don't say, Nate.
Yeah, and Luke Rosiak from the Daily Wire, he's done a great job investigating these agencies. And so we're going to show a bunch of headlines and a few paragraphs from the articles that he wrote about it. We were not going to go as in-depth as we did in its respective Dumb Bleep of the Week episode. So you'll have to go second week of May on Friday. We talked about this way more at length in that Dumb Bleep of the Week episode if you want to hear more about it. African aid agency used foreign pass-throughs to hide money that went to D.C. staff. That's one article headline here. Another one, foreign aid official who resisted Doge took secret payments after steering Africa money to a friend.
No.
That's pretty good. A foreign aid official refused Doge access to his agency's financial records. May have had a reason to keep them out. He steered illicit contracts to a friend who sent him secret payments, according to a law enforcement affidavit obtained by the Daily Wire. Zahui, the CFO of the African Development Foundation, refused to grant Doge access to its books and told the White House that the agency would not acknowledge President Donald Trump's appointee as chairman of the board. Remember, at this time, people on the left were holding them up on their shoulders as champions, resistance fighters against the evils of Elon Musk and Doge, because they were standing up for democracy and all that. Mm-hmm. It turns out they're trying to hide the fact that they just had a money laundering operation going this whole time. If you could imagine a world.
By the way, this is just one small little agency.
One little $40 million a year agency or something like that.
Yes.
What do you think was going on at USAID?
And all
or
the others.
even bigger agencies like what goes on at the Pentagon? You think, when you got $900 billion and you're throwing all these contracts around. I bet you it's pretty bad. After a dramatic showdown in March, Doge physically took over the building with U.S. Marshals, but control of the agency is now the subject of a lawsuit. I haven't seen what's happened since then. Let's see. Let's get to one action that raised eyebrows was Zahui's insistence on directing both grants and contracts to a company in Kenya called Ghanium. According to spending records, it was awarded nearly $800,000 in contracts without competition. For example, a one-year, $350,000 contract for transport, travel, and relocation services was executed in March of 2020 when few people are traveling because of COVID. According to a search warrant USAID's Inspector General established by August 2024 that the company's owner had secretly wired money to Zahui's personal bank account at times that matched up with the federal contracts.
No way.
That's weird.
Huh.
How about that? That's pretty crazy. Zahui told the Daily Wire that Ghanaian performed IT services during COVID instead of the travel services. They were just lazy, and they put it down as travel services because this company was good at doing travel services. When they asked him why they went to this company, by the way, later on, he actually just said, I'm lazy. I didn't want to find another company to do this. What actually happened is that his friend ran the company. Okay? That's
and then his friend wired.
And then his friend sent money back to
wired him some money.
Have there been any arrests because of this stuff?
Nope.
Here's another piece of it. African Aid Agency used foreign pass-throughs to hide money. This is one where one of the assistants said, he sent me an email connecting me with this guy in Africa who asked for my banking information. Within a few days, this guy wired me $17,000. That's one of the way they were paying
The African
people.
prince. We would talk about the African
Nigerian
prince
was sending her $17,000. It's a true story. How about that? So that's, you guys get the gist of the thing. The dumb part, of course, is what the agency was doing. The other dumb part was all the lefties honoring this agency for its fight against Doge and its fight for democracy, when in fact...
When also you're taking down a minority agency.
Yeah, they're trying to help Africa. Of course, you don't want to develop Africa, which of course they were... Actually, this is kind of funny. This is how they're helping Africa. Let's see. To voice grants addressing non-existent problems on African groups as a way to steer money to an affiliate of the Aspen Institute, a left-wing Colorado nonprofit called Artisan Alliance. The head of Artisan Alliance said at the time, flat out tells us she's a close personal friend of C.D. Glenn. That's one of the other, important people in the story, of course. The agency offered a grant to the Heva Fund, an African group, on the condition that it send a portion to Artisan Alliance, a Colorado nonprofit.
A left-wing Colorado.
A left-wing group. How about that? The grant was ostensibly to produce PPE equipment like face masks, even though Heva told the agency that they had no demand for such a thing because affordable PPE was readily available in the region already. They didn't need it. And so they did.
But the whole point was the kickback to the...
Heva actually canceled it because they were so uncomfortable with the proposition that they take money for something that they didn't need and send some of the money back to a left-wing think tank in Colorado. I don't know. That sounds normal to me.
Yeah.
For sure. Let's see.
Well, so then they moved it on to another company who also balked.
In Kenya, called Ustadi, who also balked, saying, we don't need to pay Artisan Alliance, an American company, to help Kenyans learn how to sell masks. So, yes, this basic kind of thing.
Look at these companies in Africa having more integrity than agency workers of the United States federal government.
Their integrity, no, I don't know these people. I don't know who they are. They're probably just really good people. But there's also a chance that they were mad that they didn't get to keep all the money and that they had to send some of it back. They had to send some of the rake back to the left-wing groups in the U.S., and they didn't like them raking money off of their money that they were supposed to be giving for worthless things. So anyhow, that was that story. Okay, that's number 1 and 2 of May. We're doing okay. We're doing okay right now. Number 3, I think, is one that we could brush by a lot faster, and this is the week in May where this bombshell report
and book
were coming out. These massive revelations, just earth-shattering, world-changing revelations that
no one saw coming.
No, especially all these journalists and people in the media. They had no clue this is going to happen. It turned out that Biden had been having issues with his mental acuity during his presidency, dating all the way back to 2021, the year he came in office, dating all the way back to them.
Tell you what, this shocked the world.
They were very
I'm
shocked
still
about
in
it.
shock.
I don't know what to think
about these revelations.
We can't talk about it, though, because he's got cancer, and that's sad. So it's very sad.
That he likely had.
Probably had the cancer, too.
The entire presidency as well.
He's got stage 4.
Would this be elder abuse?
Prostate cancer. I do believe that it could qualify as such. I don't know. Let's play this out. Say you got an elderly person
with cancer and dementia.
With cancer and dementia. It's your significant other, okay? And you know that they've got dementia and then eventually cancer and physical problems. And you take them and you force them to go get like one of the toughest jobs in the world, like mentally, you know, and all the time that you spend doing stuff too. And then probably at night, I bet they're like, I'm tired. Everything's hurting. I hear a vacuum cleaner going in there or something like that. That's nice.
I don't hear it over the mics though.
No, it's not coming through. Is it elder abuse to like, you know, push them into this job when they've got dementia? And I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know what the rules are on such a thing.
That's elder abuse.
If they're not, I have to say we just go to a nursing home, pick someone out, send them to work.
Yeah.
You know? Why not?
We could sign
Just
things
go do
for
it.
them, you know, get an auto pen.
Auto pen, signatures.
Be fine.
Who cares? Running for president.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did have to save democracy. That's true.
Yeah, all in an effort to save democracy.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
The gaslighting, projection, just the whole thing, if it doesn't infuriate you, I just don't know what else would. I'm just, this is so weird to me. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and be like, did that actually happen? We live in this realm, you know, like this is the reality that exists, you know, where we saw all of this happening and then they gaslit us into thinking like we were the ones that didn't care about democracy and freedom and liberty. And
they did.
And it turns out they were just projecting the entire time.
Yeah.
And they knew what they were doing. But then that's not it. That's not all. But wait, there's more. Then they're the ones who come out with a book.
Yeah.
Detailing everything as if it's some sort of shocking, revealing.
And they get to be the truth tellers. They get to be the honest people who told the truth to the first at the story, to the American people. And isn't that just great? Isn't that awesome? We did have it brought up this moment between
This
Jake
gives
Tapper.
me heart palpitations.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy, right?
It's just like,
it's pretty wild.
I feel sick.
Yeah. It should.
God.
It should. You know, when you really think about what all this means, it really should make you sick. And then you should get over it and live your life, okay? Go to Norway or something.
I don't know.
It's nice out there.
I feel sick.
Yeah. Well, let's keep going. But wait, there's more. We could play this clip of Jake Tapper and Laura Trump and the stutter. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Every time he comes on stage or they turn to him, I'm like, Joe, can you get it out? Let's get the words out, Joe. You kind of feel bad for him.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have
to watch somebody on stage search for
this is so amazing. It's so amazing to me
and try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was...
You know, let me throw a white pill on top of this. The American people saw through this the whole time.
Yeah, that's true.
Most of them did. And I think everyone did. Even
Except for the ones who voted for him.
Well, even then, they knew. They just were more scared of Trump than they were of whoever was actually running the show behind Biden. Because we know Biden was not actually... I mean, he had the title of president, but he's not the person who was doing, making decisions on a daily basis and coming up with ideas and all that, thinking stuff up. He wasn't doing that. He was trying to get over there and sit down. That was his biggest task.
Yeah.
Try to get to the toilet
not
on
poop
time.
himself.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing he had to do. And the American people saw through it. And all the gaslighting that we saw, especially in 2024 leading up to that election, and the crazy gaslighting that actually pushed me over the edge to vote for Trump, people saw through it.
Then the switcheroo of democracy by just installing Kamala Harris.
That whole thing.
As the leader.
It's crazy. It didn't work. That's the good news I'm trying to tell you. It didn't work.
I'm still upset about it.
Now, well, this is a separate from Dumb Bleep, but we are right-leaning libertarians, okay, whatever that means. You got to at least say we're right-leaning because we voted for Trump. Woke right libertarians. Sure. That's what we are. and everyone else who are Republicans that are out there. Your job, because what I just said, this didn't work. All the Hitler, Nazi, Madison Square Garden rally thing, all that stuff, Joe Biden's fine. None of it worked. But if we don't make sure that a guy like Trump does a good job and doesn't do a whole bunch of fascisty things while he's in office, or a bunch of terrible economic policies while they're in office, and keep signing away more deficits and more debt, more government spending and all that, it might work in the future. And so it's our job to hold people's feet to the fire, even if it's someone that we voted for. That's my little short message there for you. All right, that was number 3. Oh, this is fun.
This is a great one.
Good. Yeah, this is a fun time. This one came from the live group. There's a post out here by Brian Harrison. And then we got the Thomas Massie thing at the end. That's good. Yeah, a couple fun ones here. Let me find. This is the first video here. This is
state politics.
State politics for Texas. After throwing
the great state of Texas.
Great state of Texas. Mm-hmm. Yeah. After throwing temper tantrums because I enforced the constitutional quorum requirement, you won't believe this update from the floor. GOP priorities are dying because we wasted the first half of the session, and property taxes are increasing. Texans, you've been betrayed. So he's going to tell you a little bit more of the story here. They came in the session with like 250 bills that they had to try and get passed, and one of them was like lowering taxes, or at least preventing them from going up.
Property taxes, which Texas has high property taxes. Very high property taxes.
Are they the highest in the country, or close to it? They're pretty high. Some of the people here in Texas could let us know. I'm pretty sure it's close to the top.
That's a lot of rent you're paying to the government.
Yeah, for sure. We'll let him tell the story. They had a way of stalling the vote, and it was creative. I'll give them that.
Yeah,
it was creative.
Hey, howdy, Texans. You're not going to believe what I'm about to show you. So the Texas House of Representatives spent the first 3 months not working, not passing Republican priorities. We still haven't dealt with property taxes. We spent 3 months not working. It's a Saturday. We have 240 bills they're going to pretend to work on today. And on that one day with 240 bills, which we're not going to get to, what are we doing right now? That's right. Mariachi. This is your Texas House. Not cutting property taxes, not dealing with Republican priority bills. Check this out. I'm sorry, Texans. You've been betrayed. The Texas House is corrupt, and you deserve better.
I like that guy. I don't know anything about that guy. I probably don't agree with him on everything, but I like that guy. That's good. It's just, I wanted to see this other video. I saw this other video come up when I searched this, and this is, I think, someone like announcing the band or something. I haven't heard this one. I want to play it.
Celera un grito.
Oh.
Viva! All right, who's ready? Go ahead. Vamos.
Just gets me in the mood to work on Texas legislation.
Guys, we're laughing because it's so ridiculous. It's one of the most blatant things I've seen. And I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that happens, but you've got a short amount of time to pass some very important bills.
I've got nothing against mariachi band.
No, it's great.
In fact, I love listening to them when I'm sipping a margarita.
Yeah, for sure.
Non-alcoholic margarita.
Absolutely, which is basically just a bunch of sugar and no fun.
Yeah, get some chips and queso.
That's
and
fine.
Salsa, some delicious salsa.
Mm-hmm.
It's even better when you hear them when you're down in Mexico.
I'm sure.
On the beach and But I don't think there's a place for them. Maybe they could play in the background while you're voting on legislation. There's no problem with that.
Sure.
But this was I'm sure they got paid too. So this was this is what they're doing with your property taxes down in Texas.
They use your property taxes to pay these guys. By
the way, they sound like great musicians.
Well, they
trumpet player has a great tone.
They did a great job, great voices.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate all the work they put into it, and I got to appreciate somewhat the creativity, the despicable and disgusting creativity that whoever came up with this has as a way to stall for time when you don't want to have time to vote on things.
The other thing you can tell is none of those mariachi band members are starving.
No, they are not.
Which means they must do well at their craft.
They're doing just fine.
Yeah.
For sure.
Plenty of food.
Oh, sad they got sent to El Salvador.
Texans, we want property tax cuts. The Texas House, will you settle for a mariachi band?
Okay, last one is Trump versus Massie from a couple weeks ago. As everyone here knows, there's been some fighting going on between different factions of Republicans, and the newest bit of news has been that Elon Musk has joined the fight. He even for the first time last night shared a meme that had Trump's name in it as something that was coming in stopping the Doge cuts. And normally it's just all about Republicans and Congress. You know, Congress is doing a bad job. Congress needs to fix this. He actually shared one that called out Trump, and I guess we've officially seen this relationship, this love affair, maybe come to an end here. I don't know. You know, I hope they can still be friends and all. But anyhow, that's not what this one is about. This one is a couple weeks ago when Trump was out there talking about Thomas Massie, because of course Thomas Massie has been out here talking about how terrible the big, beautiful bill is. And Trump had these comments to say right here.
Say it. I'm a fiscal hawk. I'm a bigger fiscal hawk. There's nobody like me as a fiscal hawk.
Massie said that has more deficit than Biden did, and this bill kind of...
Because we have to fix the country.
Do you think that Thomas Massie is correct in saying that this is adding Biden?
No, I don't think Thomas Massie understands government. I think he's a grandstander, frankly. He'll probably vote. We don't even talk to him much. I think he should be voted out of office. And I just don't think he understands government. If you ask him a couple of questions, he never gives you an answer. He just says, I'm a no. He thinks he's going to get publicity. And you have that. You have that. They've got...
And now we know a lot more about the big, beautiful bill.
Yeah.
Since then.
We got more. And the bill, you know, I'm a fan of cutting. Just cut stuff. I don't care. They're so worried about the midterms. It's always the midterms are coming up. The midterms are always coming up. After the midterms, guess what? There'll be a presidential election and more congressional elections after that.
Then there'll be the midterms.
The same one. And then after that's the midterms. Always. And I saw, who was it? It was Nick Freitas. Did a great video. Got a lot of traction.
Nick Freitas and great in the same sentence. Okay.
Nick Freitas from Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Not Nick Fuentes.
Okay. At first I was like, wait.
No, Nick Freitas.
Okay. Okay, Nick Freitas.
The former Virginia delegate.
Nick Freitas.
Remember? We saw him at Young Americans for Liberty a bunch of times, stuff like that.
Yes.
He made the point, which I thought was a good one, that when Democrats are in power, they'll vote for crazy stuff that might end up just getting them voted out of office in a couple of years. And they know they'll be back in a couple of years after that. But they'll vote for it because it pushes whatever their priorities are. No matter how terrible it is for the country, like they'll do it, you know. But Republicans, they'll never take a chance of doing something that might get them voted out of office. And so nothing ever happens. But I think what hopefully they're getting the message now from Elon Musk is that this is more important than keeping your office for 2 more years. After that, we're talking about the financial destruction of America.
Because, like, what if your office doesn't exist?
Yeah. What if it gets burned down and the riots after people can't buy food anymore and there's no power and stuff like that? Like, yeah, you're not going to win re-election then either. So why don't we do what actually needs to be done, even if it gets you voted out of office? Just do it. And then, of course, at that time, I have to mention, why would they get voted out of office for doing the best thing for the country? That's because the people suck. And they don't know what's good for them.
Yeah.
All right.
And if you take away,
still got to work on that.
If you take away personal benefits, then they get upset about those things.
About it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of a catch-22 for them.
They're going to be upset anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Do the right thing. More people will respect you if you do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Have some integrity. Have some principles. I think Trump actually tells the truth here that when he says, well, Massie doesn't understand politics or government. In a way, that's kind of true, because what they try to do is they try to just add enough pork for everybody that they can get the votes.
Yeah.
You got to get the votes. But instead, why don't you hold people's feet to the fire and see who votes what? Put them on the record.
Do it. Yeah, they're like, they want to craft this bill that they think they can get the most votes. Why don't we, like kind of what you're saying, do the bill that actually needs to be done? And if it gets voted down, sure, great. Get people's names on the record who did not want to vote for these cuts, so people can then make those decisions. But they're too afraid. Because they'll get a bad news cycle for a day or two if they put up a bill and Republicans don't vote for it?
No, they're too afraid to put their name on the record.
Yeah.
Because they don't want their constituents to vote them out of office.
It's the actual thing.
Yes.
But this ridiculous thing, in this statement here, Trump says, I'm a fiscal hawk. No one's a bigger fiscal hawk than me. Dude, you spent the most money ever until Biden. Okay.
And now you're on track to spend more money.
I mean, he had added, I think, $7 trillion to the deficit before COVID. Or to the debt before COVID, I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Well, he was going to get
a lot.
Remember, he was going to get it under control in his second term.
They were working on it for the second terms when they were going to do that, and they just, the election was stolen, and China released that bioweapon, and so the rest is history after that.
Well, and here's one of the problems, because Trump looks at this like a business, which isn't totally wrong, but one of the problems is that it's very skewed, I think, in the United States, because the way Trump is looking at the balance sheet is like, oh, well, we have $37 trillion in debt, but we have about 200 to 300 million or trillion in assets.
Mm-hmm.
So that's dwarfs.
Like, imagine if someone wanted to come in and buy the United States.
Right.
It would cost them $200-300 trillion to do that.
It dwarfs the debt that we're in, and we're still, yeah, we're $37 trillion in debt, but we're taking in $5 trillion a year. I mean, when you're looking at a business deal, it's not that bad. He's like, the Taj Mahal was way worse than that, percentage-wise.
Like, if you're calculating the stock value, if your business is losing money every year, but they have $200 trillion in assets, well, who cares?
Exactly.
Yeah, you could just keep running that up the whole time.
And then all you got to do is focus on growth. I mean, Amazon did that for 17 years, and now look at them. So in a business sense, that is true. But the problem is you're talking about a country that's not going to have the same CEO that has that 50-year vision.
This changes every 2 years.
It changes every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to get your current house in order.
Got to do it now.
Clean your room.
Yeah.
Sweep the florists of Congress.
Clean your florists, man.
All right. All right. Get your votes in for May.
That's April.
I got to go.
And May. Let's see here. You got to go.
This is tough.
Come on. Let's get let's get these votes in. So for May, we had number 1 was Hope Walson. She was running and felt bad about it. Number 2 is the African Development Foundation. I remember that time. Number 3, the massive Biden revelations. Number 4, the Texas House. Number 5, Trump versus Massie. We can go ahead and call it for both. The winner for April is the Douglas Murray-Dave Smith debate. Mainly Douglas Murray wins Dumb Bleep of April. And for May, it's going to be Trump versus Massie round 3 at that time. I don't know which round we were in at that time.
Man, I can't. This is so crazy to me that you look at like the Biden revelations and the fact that the government is laundering money back to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
No, not as dumb as Trump versus Massie.
That's not, because of all the dumb things it said and the implications of him winning the primary Thomas Massie out of office.
That is true.
But the white pill for that is that Elon Musk is back.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to let Thomas Massie get outspent.
What if Elon Musk decided to pump $200 million into the Libertarian Party?
I don't know. That'd probably be bad.
You think so?
Yeah.
You don't think he could actually help get some like legit libertarians elected?
No, I mean, I guess it would be
and
good.
Change the landscape. What if Elon Musk is like, wow, we need more than 2 parties?
Yeah.
Clearly,
no, it's true.
Something needs to change. And so he decides, like, okay, well, what's the most viable option? I'm not saying the Libertarian Party is, but they're the 3rd biggest party.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're principled. mostly. You know, what if that's the solution? You look across Europe, they have 5, 6, 7, 8 different parties that are up for election. Canada, same thing.
No, I mean, I would
because what if his
support that?
What if his
overall
sentiment now, after being in Washington, is being like, oh God, they're the same. Oh my God,
it might be. Yeah,
the GOP and the Democrat, they're all the same.
I hope that's
this
his
is
sentiment.
just one giant swamp.
It's crazy to watch what is happening right now. Like, he's not a politician. He's a guy who actually cares about this stuff. And he ran up against the people who acted like they cared about this stuff so they could use him for his money and all of his notoriety during the election. And then he found out that they were not serious about taking care of these things. And now he's pissed. And I completely agree with the fact that he's mad right now. And I think they after round, they're about to find out. So, all right, we got those winners, Chuck.
All right. Well, if y'all enjoyed the recap of April and May's Dumb Bleep of the Week, then share the show with your friend, a family member, not the children, though. Nate said way too many F words in this episode, which means we're going to have to put the explicit tag. But, you know, this is America, free speech. You can say whatever the F you want to.
You can.
Yeah.
F it.
It's just not around the children. Not good for their ears, apparently. So anyway, share it around. Leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Go to godhatesfeds.com to pick up some merchandise, or join gml.com. Be part of the Fed Haters Club if you enjoy this kind of thing, which you should, because it's magical. And if you do all of that, if you're still here and you see value, then you can visit the links in the show notes to support the sponsors that support this show. Lots of great sponsors.
For sure.
Some new ones coming up. Nate's going to tell you about in a couple weeks.
I've been testing their products every night.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do those things or don't. I don't really care, but Nate does. And if you do, we'll be back again tomorrow. Hope you have a good day and a good morning, Liberty. Nice outro by the dogs there.
Yeah, that was really good.